Today we welcome Jim Gifford. He is an endurance athlete who has competed in both the Chicago and Boston marathons and will be competing again in the Chicago Marathon here in October. He recently ran the River Run where he put both Jack and I's times to shame. He continues to push the limits into his 70s. We hope you enjoy this one.
Awesome. We're live. Jim, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. I want to start this. People like you are very important because you provide physical evidence of kind of what's possible, whether that's through consistency and discipline or just kind of an iron will to not accept that societal norm of, oh, I'm at this stage of my career, right. I need to slow down. What keeps you driven at such a high level?
First of all, it's really flattering. Thank you very much. I've always liked to run. I've been running my whole life, sometimes a lot more than other times. But I just enjoy to run, enjoy competing, and like to try to win my age group, so to speak. So
You do a good job of that.
Oh, thank you.
You do.
Thank you. But to answer your question, I just like being in shape. Keep on keeping on, you know.
It's awesome. That's awesome because that's exactly what I'm going for. You know, I'm 27. He's 30. The way I work out and the way I do cardio is for longevity at this point.
Right.
You know, I don't really train for anything else. So it's amazing to see, you know, that personified.
Well, the whole longevity thing, you know, it's great. It really wasn't a goal of mine. I just always loved sports. And going way back when I started running, I did it basically for accomplishment. That's changed a lot over the years, whereas now journeys is every bit as important as the destination. I don't race nearly as much as I used to. I just love the daily training. And I know there's a lot of people that can't say that, but there are some that are. But just getting out there in the fresh air. I've never run on a treadmill before. I go out.
Really?
Yeah, I go out in the ice and snow, and I really love the summertime. I mean, as I mentioned to you, I just retired actually a month ago.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you. And one of the nice things about that is instead of being at work in the morning, I can go out, and I'm still getting up early, believe it or not. But I go out and do my run like 7:30, 8 o'clock, you know, and I feel really good for the day. It kind of helps me get my head straight for the day, you know.
What's your daily, like when you go out on a run on just a weekday? How far are you going?
I have a general plan of what I want to do per week. I'm not really good on, okay, tomorrow I'm doing this, the next day I'm doing this, because I kind of really judge on how I feel. Mm-hmm. I have more of a general plan. Like I know I want to run really long once a week, and I want to run something with some intensity once a week. But the rest of it is very, very relaxed, conversational, much slower than I would race.
You run with somebody?
Not now. Over my life I have, because I ran all the school teams coming up, and I ran with a lot of people. But now it's all on my own. I live up a little town 25 miles up the road, Newton. Mm-hmm. And on Strava, I do see there are people up there running. I occasionally see people, but I don't really know any of them. But I'm not sure they'd be interested in running with an old man anyway. You know? But to answer your question, it's I have a general plan, but I pretty much take it by feel. Like if I go out and I'm like, you know, my knee hurts, my hamstrings are tight, I'll cut it short. But if I'm like, wow, man, I feel good today, I'll go ahead and do my quality workout that day when I was planning on doing it 2 days later. So I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah,
but.
Yeah, it does. Well, what you're doing is working, because Troy and we're still pretty full from eating your dust from the river run.
I have never seen you in my life. That's how far in front of us you were. Yeah. And I thought when I ran, I was like, God, you know, because I don't run as much as I should, but I was like, man, I ran out at a good time, and yeah, I've never seen you in my life.
I probably train a lot harder than you do.
I think you do. Yeah. I think you do.
So I have our times. believe it or not. So I took last out of us. I ran a 58.08 at a 9:21 pace, which honestly for me, I thought was pretty good. Troy, you ran a 54.19 with an 8:44 pace. Nice job.
I felt good.
Yeah, really good, sub 9. And then there's you, Jim. You ran a 46.32 at a 7:29 pace. Amazing.
Well, thank you. I consider it, well, not really amazing. I'm glad I can still do it. Crazy thing about it is way back when I was a young guy, I used to run it so much faster than that. I almost laugh when I look at my times now. When I was running in college, that's so long ago that we didn't run metric. We ran 3 and 6 miles on the track, which is, 10K, 6.2 miles. But I was actually running that distance in about 30 minutes. My best 6 mile was actually 29:12, and I ran around 29 flat a lot.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, so now I would have, my race now, my prior self would have time to catch his breath, get a drink a couple times, go talk to his girlfriend. And then
by drink, you mean a beer.
Then old Jim, then there'd be old Jim coming. But, I'm still glad I can do it. And it does well within my age, but it's a lot slow. You would be surprised how much you slow down over the years. It's crazy. It's almost shocking. Wow.
Yeah. 29. What is that average pace? What is that per mile?
That's 450 mile
That
pace.
is unbelievable.
That's moving.
Yeah. Had a lot of good competition, teammates. I ran a couple of years at Wichita State, a couple of years at Butler County before that, and had a lot of really good teammates.
Are you from here?
I actually am from here. I grew up in the south part of Wichita and went to South.
Okay.
I've lived up in Newton for 40 years. My wife's from there. And my job was down here also. So I get down here pretty daily. Not anymore, but when I worked, I'd commute down here every day. But you'd ask about running with people, and I was always running with people. And I had some really good teammates, guys that ran on the U.S. junior team against the Russians and stuff like that, so
That had to be a cool process, seeing them gear up for something like that.
yeah, it was. And we were all really going at it all the time. A lot of competition during the week. Sometimes you had to watch it, or it would actually leave you a little tired for the race on the week.
Practice is harder than the actual competition.
Yeah, you had to learn to keep it in check during the week,
Right.
or you'd be actually feeling it in the race. And we'd race pretty much every weekend, the whole school year. If it wasn't cross country, then you'd go into indoor track, then outdoor track, and pretty exhausting when I look back on it. I only race 5-6 times a year now.
Do you still follow Wichita State track or just
Yeah,
collegiate track in general?
Casually, I do. I was watching the NCAA track meet last night on ESPN. It's on the next few nights. But yeah, I always like the major marathons. I'll watch them on YouTube, and I myself listen to a lot of podcasts. Exercise physiologists and coach and world class runners, and do get some ideas for my own personal training out of that.
Awesome. Who do you listen to? I listen to you ever hear of Rhonda Patrick or Andrew Huberman?
I know who she is. I have listened to a few of hers. There's a guy named Steve Magnus, and he's tremendous. Magness. That guy, he's forgotten more than we'll ever know about training and running. He actually, when he was in high school, was almost a 4-minute miler. But this guy's an author, a speaker. He coached at the University of Houston track and cross country for quite a few years. But he's recently gotten really strong in YouTube, and he has a weekly podcast where he'll have some training ideas. I like him quite a bit. When I was working not long ago, I'd have my Bluetooth headphones on, and on my toolbox, I would have a podcast playing.
Nice.
I was working on stuff, but I was listening to that, so I got to really, get a lot of good information.
That's the new norm. Working and listening to podcasts.
Yeah.
Would you typically run before you head into work?
Actually, as I mentioned earlier, I love running in the morning because it kind of gets me energized for the day. But I had a 30-minute commute, worked down the south part of town at one of the major aircraft companies, and had to be there at 6. So actually, the bulk of the time I was running after work. And I didn't have a physical job to the extent of like breaking rocks in the hot sun or anything, but I was on my feet a lot, and I would really feel it, And I made a point to keep moving. When I get in, I wouldn't sit down and relax, talk to my wife. I'd just get in, put on my stuff. But that first couple miles, I was feeling the work day for sure. I mean, and then I would gradually feel better. In the summertime, when it obviously is scorching here at that time of day, I actually would get up about 3 o'clock and with a headlamp on my head and go out and try not to step on a possum, and go out and run. When I was training for Chicago Marathon last year, I was out running at 3 a.m. pretty much every day. Not a lot. I was only able to do 6-7 miles, and on the weekend I'd do a 20-miler on Saturday and a 8 to 10 on Sunday. But now I'm in a position, like I said, I can kind of proportion that out a little bit more.
You said you don't run on the treadmill. Do you
Have.
You've never run on the treadmill?
No.
Do you ever run indoors, like at the Y or?
In college, we'd work out indoors.
But now, when you're when you're training,
no, I don't.
So during the summer, when it's 110 outside or 105 outside at 6 or 5:30 p.m.
Well, I don't run then. Now
Okay.
I'll be out like 7 a.m. And when I was working, I'd go out at 3 a.m.
So you were doing that pretty consistently during the summer or the hot months when you're trying to train.
Right. In July and August, and then because I wasn't. It was great to get it done. I'd be like, oh man, I got that done for the day. So when I get home from work, I could just sit down and eat and relax, like most people would do. But now that's not going to be an issue anymore.
Right. You've earned it.
Oh, Thank you.
Yeah.
Definitely. When you got up at 3, when you were doing that in your training, what was your recovery and sleep like? What was that schedule?
It's crazy. I listen to podcasts and reading, and sleep's a major deal. It really is. But fortunately, I've never really been one of these people that really requires like 7-8 hours sleep. If I can get 5.5, I'm feeling good. If I can get 6, I'm on top of the world. But we were going to bed really early. Like 8:30, 9 o'clock, So I was getting in 5-6 hours of sleep per night, if that's you asking. My recovery, I just shower and head it to work. Be on my feet, building aircraft parts all day.
Gotcha.
Have you always been like that in terms of sleep? Or as a 20, 30, 40-year-old, did you need more sleep, or has it always been 5-6 hours?
It's always been that way. As a matter of fact, now that I'm retired, I'm still getting up early. I'll get up like 3:30, 4 o'clock, and I'm staying up later. Too. Like I was up late. I heard you mention on one of the podcasts you were a Thunder fan, and I was up watching the game last night. Stayed up all night long watching it.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah.
Maybe tomorrow will be better.
But that's another nice thing. I'll be able to stay up a little bit later. I saw the Chiefs actually have 7 night games on their schedule this year, and that was a killer. Mm-hmm. I'm sure you experienced that too.
Oh yeah, that's a killer for me. I'll go to the YMCA before work.
Yeah,
trying to beat the 8 to 5, so you got to get up pretty early. I'm out of bed about 4:50 and off to the Y. So this Sunday night football games.
Oh my God, yeah.
Looks like I'm missing the second half.
Actually, 3 of their first 5 are night games I saw. But plus the fact that the game lasts till 10:30 or 11, and you want to see a couple of Mahomes interviews, then you go to bed and you're a little bit wired up,
Right.
especially if they lose. So you're like, oh, then you can't sleep till 12:30, 1 o'clock. You're up at 3.
You really are just like us.
Yeah. I've been a Chiefs fan my life. As a matter of fact, I go back so far that I remember watching them play in the first Super Bowl on television.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it was like 1967.
And we lost that one, didn't we?
Yeah, I got beat soundly by Green Bay. It was like 35-10. They won the 4th Super Bowl against Minnesota. Mm-hmm. It's a long drought, but
That was Hank Stram and
right. Lenny
the Cool.
Dawson.
Was he the quarterback of all those of the first
Right.
and the 4th? He was.
Yeah, right. So that kind of dates me definitely.
Seen some cool things.
Yeah, you have. You said 7 events you typically run in. Is that what you said?
Through the year?
Through the year.
There's no exact number. This year I've run 3. I'm for sure going to run Chicago Marathon, and I would like to catch maybe another Wichita race. So it'll probably be 5.
Where do they run in Chicago? Do you go down because I was there for work not all that long ago.
All over the town, man. You're right, Dan. I love that trip. That my wife and I really have a great time up there, and I love the race. It's one of the marathon majors. You start down there around Michigan Avenue, which is the main drag.
Yep.
And you work your way up north, and then I'm not that familiar enough with Chicago. I could give you all the streets.
Sure.
But then you'll head up north and out west and work your way back up and finish back up there about, I think, a quarter mile for you, where you started from. But the hotel's quite close over there on Michigan Avenue. So everything's within walking distance there. But it's a great race. If you ever had a chance to run it, I would definitely do it.
Is that something you have to qualify for?
You do. I wouldn't. I'm not. Those are easily accessible on the internet. Have you ever run a marathon at this point?
Just the half. The half last October is the furthest I've ran.
I'm thinking. I don't know. At your age, probably low 3s. Probably. I would think. I don't know. You could look that up easily. It's in there.
I got work to do because I've got my fall prairie fire time and your spring prairie fire time. I've got them both here. If you wanted to know, you beat me by 35 minutes. I ran a 2:17:49, and I have you at a 1:42:03.
Yeah. I was actually really happy with that. And
I would be too.
And a lot of my races, I'm like, that wasn't bad. But I was really happy with that because I cut like a couple minutes off last year, and obviously I was a year younger. So
Amazing.
Yeah, I attribute that to the fact I think I lost a couple pounds. I mean, I'm not one of these people that goes in and weighs myself very much, but just the way my clothes, like I put my jeans on, I'm like, I think I'm a little skinnier. So that makes a lot of difference in running. A ton.
Just being lighter.
Oh, yeah. Ton of difference.
I bet. That kind of leads me to, is there any lifestyle habits that you contribute to longevity or speed?
I'm just a regular guy, man. I mean, I run a lot. Besides that, doing the same stuff you guys do, But I don't have any special diet,
Really?
Love a good hamburger and order fries, pizza.
Sure.
I try not to eat late in the evening. That helps. We eat our dinner fairly early. I'm trying not to. I think that helps a lot, but no real lifestyle. Anything crazy.
You eat 3 meals a day?
Yeah, a couple of them are really fairly small. My biggest one's in the evening, and that's personal preference. I've heard said a lot of times you should eat a really big breakfast, and then that's just kind of the way I do it. And it's just something like some toast or something in the morning, enough to get something on my stomach before my run, and a burrito or something for lunch, and then kind of a regular dinner, like hamburger.
So you've never done like intermittent fasting or anything like that?
God, that does not appeal to me at all. It really doesn't, So something I won't do probably. I mean, if it works, I actually know a guy that swears by that. Who's a runner from my workplace. Man, I can get rid of all this inflammation. I mean, he went on like not long ago a 5-day fast.
Oh boy.
He looked like dead meat at work, man. He was drinking fruit juice.
Oh man.
But I don't know. I couldn't do it.
Do you drink any alcohol?
No, I did when I was young, but I don't anymore. I just don't like the dehydration aspect of it.
That's got to help.
Yeah. It always leaves you little parts, so to speak.
Right. And sticking years and years together of no alcohol and doing what you do, that's got to keep you looking pretty good.
Oh, thank you. I know there are runners that like their beer, It
Sure.
just anymore, like I said, it just makes me feel a little sluggish. So, no, not anymore.
Sure. I've definitely dialed back my alcohol intake too. Just, I don't want to throw away the next day. Like, I hate being hungover.
Yeah.
Like, I'll drink, but I try not to drink enough to be
Right.
hungover.
Right.
You just there's just too much
Oh, yeah.
too many things going
Yeah,
on. Like,
yeah.
my Sunday's just ruined. I'm just rotting on the couch for 12 hours.
Right,
You know,
right.
like, I don't need that anymore.
Yeah, it takes even moderately. I think takes a little bit out of you. I see things on the internet. They're like, this is poison. I mean, have you seen any of that stuff? The research now is like it's really bad for you. They used to say it was actually good for your heart to some extent.
Yeah, they would say that with a glass of wine, wouldn't they?
Right. Or wine or just
Yeah.
a beer, moderation. And again, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Like I said, but it just seems to leave me a little dehydrated.
It's funny they said that with wine because wine's got so much sugar in it. It's like wine's got to be the worst thing, probably.
Right.
I don't know.
Did they come back on that though? 'Cause I feel like
Probably.
whatever wine does probably positively for your heart, the negative aspects of it probably outweigh what the positive for your heart is. But I don't know if they've ever. I thought that they took that back, but maybe they didn't. I don't know if a glass of wine's still good for you or
Is
not.
that something you'd be able to look up, like, potentially?
Working on it.
Okay. Yeah, because I heard that all the time. Say a glass.
I do.
a
I think,
glass
it's,
in
I
the
think it's an
evenings.
excuse for people that like their wine to make them feel a little better, but maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't know.
I do too.
What about stretching?
I do a
What's
little.
your routine? Because like him and I will joke because we work out a decent amount.
Well, you must.
We try.
If you
And,
make it through a 10K.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
But we'll joke around about how we have like our 4 little stretches. Pull the knee back, touch the toes, this and that. But we don't. We're not stretching near enough. I guarantee it. What do you do stretching wise? Do you think you stretch adequately? What do you do?
From what you say, I'm just like you guys.
Really?
I am.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah. And I actually think that too much stretching can actually maybe cause a bit of an injury here and there. I mean, I'm a believer in that because, everyone, if you're training hard, you fight little niggles, hamstring, calf, whatnot. And I'm almost sure I got a little bit of a tendonitis in the last fall from stretching my hamstring too much. And then I researched it quite a bit, and they say it's a real predominant injury for ballet dancers, and you know how they stretch.
Right.
So I am just like you guys, very minimal. Probably more of it would be after I'm warmed up, after I've run, and so no, I'm not fanatical about that at all. I would say that's a personal preference. Just take it by feel, really.
Right.
How much you guys? Your training. How much?
That makes me feel pretty good because I'll do the stretch the knee back, touch the toe, then I'll go straight into a back squat. So it makes me feel good. But I more strength train.
Right.
I'll do that about 5 days a week, and then with some post cardio, whether that's the Stairmaster at the YMCA. I don't know if you ever used Stairmaster, maybe
I
not.
haven't. Have not.
It's pretty tough. It's a quad burner where you're just basically climbing and moving stairs.
Wow.
Do that for about 10 minutes, and it burns pretty good.
Right.
And then I'll go from the Stairmaster into the sauna for about 20 minutes.
But that feels good.
Yeah. The sauna is significantly more difficult when you go in with your heart rate already high.
Right.
So that's typically my week. About an hour lifting weights, and then
That's 5 days a week.
yep, 5 days a week.
Do you ever get out and just run go run 4 or 5 miles at a conversational pace, or just around Riverside? Or
Yeah, I did when I was my training, quote unquote, for the fall Prairie Fire. Just the Saturday before, I just grabbed the shoes and ran about 8 miles.
the
Just
Saturday,
around- yeah,
but nothing consistently. You wouldn't
not
say.
really.
I tell you what, if you ever want to really take a big chunk off of your times, that's going to do it for you.
Consistency.
Well, go ahead.
Consistency.
Oh yeah. Well, aerobic conditioning. I mean, from what you said, the Stairmasters sounds like kind of what they would call an anaerobic, like intervals, like get your heart rate up. You're
Yep.
sucking and blowing a little bit. But if you would do 80 to 90% of your training on an aerobic basis, that means like go out in a conversational pace and build up to what you can. I mean, you said you went out and ran 8 miles.
Yeah, not fast, but
Yeah. But I mean, even something like 3-4 times a week, start out do 4 or 5 miles. I mean, I wouldn't say that for just anyone, but it sounds like you're really capable of going that far. Obviously, someone that was a total beginner, I wouldn't recommend that. More of a walk jog thing, but that's the one thing that runners, recreational runners, if they would really want to see some market improvement, would increase their volume. That is the biggest deal. It really is.
When you say volume, do you mean distance or
Total
the amount of times you're running?
Both, but I mean, make 80 to 90% of it like aerobic mileage. Like, again, like, I mean, you don't need a bunch of fancy equipment, heart rate monitors and stuff like that. Just go out and, a pace that you could keep a conversation, like if you were running with someone, and just relax and accumulate time. And that does a ton for you. It really does. I mean, my running is like 90% that. I mean, even though your race, what I run 7:42 pace.
River run.
The river run was like 7:20
Yeah,
something.
I had you at 7:29 pace.
I'll go out, like this morning I went out and ran 9 miles at about 10-minute pace.
Wow, man.
And most of it is like, again, I mentioned like 1 day a week, do something quality. And then that 1 day a week, I'll go out and within a distance run, I'll take it down 7-8 minute pace. I'll break it up into like 6-minute segments, 6 minutes at 8-minute pace, jog a minute. Do that 3 or 4 times. If I'm getting ready for something like a 10K, I'll run down your 7-minute pace for like 4 minutes, then I'll jog 3 minutes. I'll do that 3 or 4 times. But the lion's share of your training, if you want to improve at distance events, should be just your conversational, go out and run and enjoy it type thing. Like right now, I'm really looking forward to a lot of that. Getting ready for a lot of real easy.
Right.
I want to boost it up even more, but it's not going to be at a hard pace right now.
Have you ever run Boston?
One time, I did when I was young age, 49 years old. And it was, oh man, that course is a killer.
Really?
You start out on a gradual downhill.
Because there's uphill at the end, isn't there?
There's a series of uphills starting at mile 18. And I think I'm correct in saying that that's like the oldest marathon there is.
That's like the granddaddy of them all.
Yeah.
Seems to be the most popular.
Right. And they had a tradition to start the race at noon. And the weather back then in Boston in April is variable. You could get a blizzard. You could get a hot day. You could get in April. The race is in April on Patriots Day, which is a Monday. But I got an 82-degree day. Yeah. I mean, it was... I've run, when you consider college running, high school, masters running now, I've run several hundred races. I don't think I've ever hurt so bad in my life.
Wow.
They have a big park there called Boston Common. You probably heard of it.
Mm-hmm.
I remember after the race, being on my knees, dry heaving for about 15 minutes. I mean, it took me most of that evening to start feeling normal. It was brutal, man. It was hot, and blisters, and I didn't have a terrible race, really, but I suffered.
Man, where do you go? Like when I ran that half marathon, when I was about 8, 9, even 10 miles in, where do you go for you, like in your mind? When I was like, my body was killing me. It's like all mental warfare at that time. It's like, you just got to keep going. That's what I was telling myself over and over again. I'm like, if you stop, you're going to be so disappointed in yourself a few hours from now. Like, pain, it's just pain.
Right.
Where do you go with that? Like in that 82-degree day uphill, like, do you remember, like, what were you thinking? How'd you...
Like, I am not, and people from work knew I was up there, and good luck, and yada, yada, and I am not going to go back and tell those people I dropped out of this race. And so, I mean, that's just never a good look, I mean, unless you really do have some serious reason to, like a health occurrence, you're going to pass out, or you've got a bad injury or something like that. But really, quite about like you just mentioned, I got 3 miles to go. I'll think things like, one thing I think that's helpful is I'll picture a place up there where I train. In that case, if it's like a little 3-mile loop or something, I'll go, that's all you got left, man, is that little loop. You've done that so many times. And then you kind of get through it, kind of break through it. And most of the time you'll look at your splits and, man, I actually picked it up that last mile. So not that much different than you. I think we're all out there at that point. Like at the river run, I was hanging on for dear life that last mile.
Yeah, I was too. But I remember at the end of the prayer fire, I was like, dude, you either find the finish line or find God. One or the other, whichever one comes first. You either pass out or finish.
In all honesty, from what you said about your training, that's incredible. I mean,
thank you.
Seriously.
It is.
I mean, you never got out there and did any like 15-mile training runs or even 10-mile training runs or anything, did you?
No.
My God, I couldn't imagine that. When I'm getting ready for something like that, I'm out every weekend, like doing
I should have. I paid for it the next few days, that's for sure. My back, like, I couldn't believe how sore my back was.
Oh my God.
Distance running, it's a full body.
Oh my God.
Full body workout.
Oh yeah.
I remember getting out of bed, like trying to go to work. I'm like, what the? Rolling out of bed, like, cracking, crack. It's like, holy cow. So I believe it. I paid the price for it.
I believe it. But that's admirable that that you could even run that on the lack of volume you're doing. It's like, wow.
Oh, thank you, sir.
You're tough, man.
It was more mental than anything. It's like, just keep going. Either pass out or finish. And then I'm eventually finished.
Get that volume up, and you won't have to suffer so bad. No.
Good to know.
Yeah, thank you for that. What do you feel after the river run, where it's just but it's a 10K. It's not a marathon or a half marathon. What do you feel like after that, body wise?
Actually, I probably hurt a little worse during that river run than I did the half marathon, because the half marathon is just slower of enough pace that it's more of a long, hard, comfortable, really. It's kind of like what you call lactate threshold training, to where you're running comfortably hard for a really long time. Now, the river run is a lot faster than comfortably hard. And for some reason, I always go out too fast there. And when I was passing the first mile, the clock was ticking 6:59, 7 minutes. And I was like, oh man, you weren't going to do it this time, because I always tell myself, don't go out so fast. But to answer your question, I probably hurt a little more, and I was pretty sore for the next 2 or 3 days, and that whole next week, I'm definitely taking it pretty easy, because that's when you can get little niggles and injuries a lot of times if you try to do something hard after a race, because you may start feeling a little better, but your muscles aren't quite there yet.
Gotcha.
Right.
Have you faced any injuries or
Oh
setbacks?
man, I've had every
Like any
I've had-
substantial?
I've had every injury. I think I must have. I mean, that's you're like, man, and people if watching this will say, well, listen to the guy, he's running's too much,
Yeah.
What does he think's going to happen? But yeah, I mean, to compete well, you got to take it up to just below, where you're overdoing it. You want to get really close to that, or you're not going to reach your potential. And occasionally, you'll kind of like fall off the cliff. So yeah, I mean, I remember my last couple of years in college, I had 2 stress fractures, one on each foot, which really hurt. I mean, because I was out, can't run on those.
Feet are terrible.
Yeah, can't run on those at all. I mean, just last fall after Chicago, I was off 6 weeks. I mentioned the stretching. I got what's called proximal hamstring tendonitis. That's where your hamstring connects to your sit bone. I mean, it really hurts to sit on it. I'm actually still fighting that to some extent. It's a lot better. What I did is researched and got some weight training, a couple weight training exercises, and plus I had to lay off a while because it just flat out not going to happen. I mean, it was like a jab every step. So, oh yeah, plus 20 million little river run 2 years ago, about 3 mile mark, I felt my hamstring strain and just tighten up. I was just praying it wouldn't go all the way. But I made it all the way in. I asked my wife, I said, you couldn't tell? She goes, no, I couldn't tell anything was wrong with you. But man, it was hurting. And I was off a month after that. I typically miss about a month to 6 weeks a year with injuries, really. But I get in a good 10 and a half, 11 months. So, that's just part of the game. I guarantee you that you could like contact every age group winner or second place age group winner at the river run or the half, and they're probably fighting something right now. Yeah, sore calf, sore knee, sore hamstring, something that's been bothering them. That's just the nature of the running game.
Yeah, that's kind of encouraging to hear for us. You see guys like you at your age kicking our ass, and then guys at our age that are really kicking our ass, but knowing, there's still a human element to this, that, all these guys are battling injuries and are in pain running that fast.
Yeah, everyone. And again, man, I don't want to underplay it. The fact that you guys could even run a 10K or a half marathon on the small amount of volume you do is like impressive to me.
I don't think I could do anything more. What you did is truly remarkable, running that half marathon. I don't think I could really do much more than a 10K not training at all, because I really don't train at all for it. I'll go run like 3 miles that week once, and that's all I do. But I lift and keep myself in decent shape.
Right.
But I don't think I could do much more than a 10K. I mean, maybe like 7 miles or 8, maybe. But with no training, I don't think I could do much more than what the river run holds.
I believe it. I mean, look at me. I'm running 50 miles a week. It kills me to do it.
Yeah, right.
Not to back up or be boring, but you ask about injuries. I think the worst injury I had is I tore my meniscus once. I haven't constantly run at this amount of volume all the way from college to now. It's been like a decade on, 15 years off, where in that 15 years off, I was kind of like doing the fitness thing, lifting weights, running 3 times a week, 3 or 4 miles, and didn't really think I'd get back into the competition. But when I ran a race really hard from about age 42 to about 52 and tore my meniscus and had to have surgery. The doctor told me I'd be running again in about 6 weeks, but it turned out being like 9 months. I couldn't run a step, and in the meantime, I was lifting weights and so forth. And by the time that finally got to feeling better, I'm like, I think I'll just be a fitness guy for a while. And
how old were you when you tore that?
About 50 years old, yeah. And then I had the surgery when I was about 52. And then actually was a fitness dude for like next 15 years. I started training hard again about 3 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. And I've only been racing again. This will be my third year. But I always kind of kept my toe in the water, so to speak. I mean, like I'd be running, like I said, 15, 20 miles a week. I'd be lifting weights 3 times a week. Be carrying a golf bag 18 hauls. And my wife's a prolific walker. My wife, she likes to walk. She walks 5, 6 miles a day. So I'll go out and walk with her. Occasionally, like in the future, when I have injuries, I'm going to be out walking with her, you know.
You think walking helps with this sort of stuff?
You know, I took Monday off, and just because I was just feeling really beat up because I ran like 23, 24 miles over the weekend. And then 2 runs. I did like a 15 and an 8 or something like that. So I said, hey, I'm going to go walk with you today. And actually, we walked about 6 miles, and I told her when I was done, I said, man, I feel like I've done something. It's basically, I don't know if you ever, all the zones, the exercise physiologists come out with, zone 1, zone 2.
Yeah.
It's basically, zone 1 aerobic training. It's real, it's not as hard on you. You don't get as good of a cardiovascular effect, but you can definitely tell you did something. And I actually really enjoyed it. So I'm actually at least going to do that with her like once a week here over the summer. Just go out and get in a good long walk. We were talking about walking 10 miles the other day, but she does that every day.
There's a guy that has a podcast. His name's Peter Attia. You heard of Peter?
Absolutely. Listen to some of those at work.
So he talks about zone 2 a lot.
And this first guy stated, Steve Magnus, look him up because he has one of his podcasts totally refuting that. I mean, it's good for you, but you don't have to be that precise. Like, there's no dead zones. Like, if you're going a little slower than that or a little faster than that, or you get warmed up and you slip into a little, it's not doing any harm. You need all the zones at some point. So, but yeah, I have listened to him quite a bit.
He talks about, I've never done it, and I don't know a ton about it. He talks about that VO2 max.
That's right. You did that at the river run.
Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Can you walk me through that? Like what?
That's just redlining it, man. That's like a pace you can keep up. Well, 8 to 10 minutes basically. So you're a little slower than that, but that's where you get up to max heart rate.
Oh, yeah. Here we go. VO2 max, or marginal oxygen consumption, is a measure of your body's ability to use oxygen during intense exercise. It's a key indicator of cardiovascular fitness and aerobic endurance. Yeah.
See, I'll do that when I'm getting ready for a 10K or a 5K. I'll do that like once every couple of weeks. The one thing about that in running, that pace, it is a lot easier to get injured. If you already have a little fatigue, it is a lot easier to like get a little muscle strain or soft tissue injury when you're really going after it, like running a 7-minute pace or something like that. But to reach potential, you need a little bit of that.
Sure.
I don't want to give the impression I'm like, you should just be out jogging conversational all the time. The majority, yeah, but you do need to reach your potential for performance. You do need a little bit of that, or you won't. You'll get out there and jump into a race, and your body's going to say like, "What?"
Yeah, that's what my body felt like after the race.
Yeah,
it hurt to walk.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Since I train a lot, I probably didn't quite feel quite that. So I was hurting coming in big time, and then I got a couple drinks, and I saw a friend of mine who's just in the age group under me, and he comes in and we chit chat a bit. But I was definitely after the awards ceremony they had, I was pretty stiff walking back to the car.
Did you get an award?
Yeah, they give it by age group.
Okay.
Yeah, little plaque thing. It was pretty cool.
You probably racked some of those up.
Yeah,
you might have a trophy room, huh?
Yeah, I've actually over the years lost a few of them here and there, but I've gotten a few here and there.
Gotcha. I typically get the participation.
I thought that was pretty cool this year.
It is.
I like
cool.
that.
Yeah, it is cool. I wear this shirt all the time, just as a trophy in itself. Yeah, this is
So you've got this shirt too, then, right?
I only ran the fall.
Oh, that's
this,
right.
This
that's
was the
right,
fall.
Right. This was this year's spring. It's kind
Oh,
of
no
cool.
kidding?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Cool. Yeah, that is. I wear this all the time.
This is
working
the
out.
prior year's spring. This year's spring was kind of a beige color. It has that building over there in Delano District on the front. This is last year's. I'm sorry.
Cool. Cool. I had no idea that was a Prairie Fire. Very, very cool. I wanted to ask you, when you're training for like Chicago, during your training, when do you like incline? How far out from the race are you really pushing? And then do you decline down towards the race?
Yeah, the decline down towards the race is called the taper. And you want to do that depending on its individual taste. They do say 3, but a lot of people don't like to taper more than about 2 weeks, where you'll cut your training down to about first week, maybe 80% of what you're doing. And that last week, you want to take it real easy. But to answer your question, Chicago is October 12th, and we're like 17 weeks away as of this Sunday. Right now, I'm just trying to do a lot of real easy. So I'm not like cutting back, but I'm not running anything hard whatsoever. And I'll try to build that up and starting including quality work, like some interval work, about 6 to 8 weeks out.
Gotcha.
And do that like once a week, and I'm progressively longer and longer and longer runs to where before we get to the taper, I will have run like 21 miles, probably 4 or 5 times. So I won't run it near the pace. I'll run the race. And I don't ever run the pace I run in races again, you know.
Sure.
Except maybe in an interval workout for real short periods. But so, you know, you don't want to like wipe yourself out. One of the biggest hurdles in marathon training is making it to the starting line.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
totally.
It really is.
That's a good point. 'Cause
really
you're logging
is.
a lot of miles and opening
Right.
yourself up to a lot of,
Right.
nicks and
Right.
little grabs and tweaks and
Right. Constant niggles.
it's a good point.
So that's, you know, if you make it to the starting line like, oh man, all the work's done. This is icing on the cake
Right.
here, you know. So that's pretty cool. But I'll keep it going and start really ramping up about August. The race is in October. And take it from there, up for the best.
If you run the race in Chicago in October the way that you envision yourself running it, where do you think you'll finish in your age group?
You know what? One nice thing is I just went into a new age group.
Yeah.
Okay, like I'm in the 70 to 74. Based on what I ran last year, and it's an international event. I mean, like you'll be hanging out in Chicago the few days before the race, and everyone walking by has got a German accent or British or,
Wow.
you know, I mean, it's cool. There's like 45,000 people in the race. But to answer your question, if the race this last fall was 2 weeks before my 70th birthday, so I was there basically, right? And the time I ran that day would have placed me 6th in the 70 to 74 at Chicago, which, considering the volume of people that, you know, coming in, I would be over the top with that.
How many people you think are in that age group? Do you even have an idea?
There's probably going to be 300 to 350 first people.
So you finish, around top 5.
Yeah, if I can run like last year, in all honesty, I ran Prairie Fire 2 minutes faster this year. So if everything goes smoothly, I think I can run 4 or 5 minutes faster. So maybe top 5.
Wow.
Which would be really great.
That would be great.
You know,
that would be awesome.
You know, I mean, due to the fact that everybody and his mother's brother is there. You know, it's from around the world. That would be.
And there's no schmucks.
Well.
Yeah, you're not running against us two like you are in the river.
Two guys that didn't even know there was an award ceremony at the river run. That's how irrelevant we are to that thing.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you do have a lot of real I mean, you consider there's 45,000 people. You know, like
God, that's so many people.
But don't you have to qualify?
You do, but they also have a lottery.
Okay.
Oh.
So a big chunk get in via the lottery.
But those are still serious people.
Yeah. You would have a lot of guys like yourselves there. Really. But except they really train, you know.
Right.
You'd be like, I'm sure you
They
would.
don't grab, just
No.
wake up and grab the shoes.
No, I'm sure, you know, if you like, hey man, we're going to do this, and you entered the lottery and got in, I'm sure you'd get out there and start ramping. You wouldn't go into it on 5 days a week of weight training and stairmaster,
Sure.
you know.
Sure, but it's burned into my memory almost at the end of the Prairie Fire half. So where we finished, the people running the half would go left to Riverfront Stadium,
Right.
and the people running the full would turn right towards Exploration Place. And
Do it again.
yeah, and there was a guy next to me, and it's just burned in my memory. I was dying, and I was turning left, and I saw him turning right. I was thinking, holy shit, that sounds terrible.
You're like, sucks to be you, but
Yeah, I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm out of here. So,
you're like, man, am I glad I'm not turning that way?
I was
Yeah.
like, God bless you, man. God bless you.
Yeah, I trained for it. So
Sure.
So, but still, you don't feel great that last 3, 4, 5 miles. Still, you know, you start running out of glycogen and trying to remember what your name is. You know, because that's basically what happens after a couple of hours. Your body starts really running low on glycogen, and you can feel pretty bad there at the end, but. Last couple I've run, I haven't felt that bad because I've really trained for it. You know.
What do you have any specific strategy with your hydrating before these big races, or are you just kind of
Before or during the race,
or both?
I'll make sure I drink pretty frequently. I do anyway. Pretty much, you know. Pretty much drink most of the time water or Gatorade, something along with Cokes, you know. But during the race, they have a water and Gatorade stop every couple miles. I'm sure you've seen that watching marathons on TV. There's people that are holding out cups.
They did it at the river run.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They do that at the marathon, except huge. I mean, that table goes on for like 20, 30, 40 yards and a couple different ones. I mean, ton of people. And what I do basically, trial and error, is I'll just on the run grab one and pinch it, take a big gulp, and I do that every single one, at like every couple miles. Take a gulp of water. Unfortunately, some of it goes on the front of your shirt and in your face, and what I'll also do is take a gel every 4 miles. I'll keep gels on me. Almost everyone does. And every 4 miles, and you don't need water with those. The new ones are like Morton is what I take. They're expensive, but they're really popular. In fact, I usually take a couple when I'm in training. You know, I'll go out and run 15 miles, and I'll take one at about 4 miles, and take one at about 8 or 9, and they help a ton because your body is just dying for calories and glycogen.
You can feel it.
Oh yeah, there's nothing worse than bonking. I mean, it is awful.
What's bonking?
What do you mean by bonking?
Bonking is you totally run out of gas. You totally run out of glycogen. You feel like you can't move, much less run. And that happens a lot in marathons. If people are terribly undertrained, that can happen really early. I mean, they're basically walking the last 10 miles, you know.
Damn.
Or, you know, if you're fairly well trained, but you go in a little bit over your head and you don't fuel properly, you can be cruising along at a nice pace thinking, oh man, I'm going to do it. I'm going to hit whatever time. And your time doubles per mile the last 3 or 4 because you have just totally run out of glycogen, and miserable feeling. Wouldn't wish it on anyone.
No.
I bet. I'm glad you brought up drinking Cokes.
Yeah, we always keep cold Coke.
So I've always wondered, I don't know the research behind it, but I've seen athletes, like after a very tough training session, they'll drink a Coke like right after. Like Floyd Mayweather, for example, one of the
Right.
greatest boxers of all time. He would go through really hard training when he was in his prime, and he would drink a Coke after his workouts.
Yeah.
Why is that? Because you'd think like endurance athletes are staying away from soda.
I'll perk you up a little bit of a caffeine hit, and I don't know. I think in moderate amounts. I mean, I drink like a couple Cokes a day.
Do you?
Yeah. I don't think the soda, is a major player in slowing you down. That's my personal opinion. There's probably someone
Gotcha.
out there to say,
Yeah.
"Oh, don't touch it,"
Sure.
Right. Probably helps you don't have those other vices, though. You don't drink, you don't smoke.
No,
So a couple Cokes a day, that's
No,
way better than
no,
a couple
no, but,
whiskeys or beers a day.
I actually like when I'll get in from a long weekend run. First thing I do is grab a Gatorade, and then when I get out of the shower, I drink a Coke, and man, it hits the spot.
I bet.
And then I'm on. Lately, throughout the day, I've been drinking this stuff Propel. Have you
Sure.
seen that?
Yep.
I actually discovered that in my Chicago Marathon pack. When you go to the expo, they give you your T-shirt, your number, and it's kind of like the River Run. You got a few little coupons and stuff like that. And there was a little plastic vial of these that look like Alka-Seltzer tablets. And they were Propel, and I'm like, yeah, I've never heard of this. And I'm like, yeah, and I put in a cup of water, and it fizzes up, and I'm like, man, that's good. And it's electrolytes, what it is, but I've been buying that ever since then. I get the little powdered ones, and refreshing, really is. Gatorade. You've seen all those commercials on TV. Gatorade's really ramped it up over the years.
Sure.
I mean, when you see that commercial that's on now, they got 5 or 6 different products up there. Got to hand it to them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Is there any do you take any supplements or anything? Like I take creatine, I guess a pre-workout's a supplement, and like protein powder. Like, is there any supplements you've taken throughout your career that you think have helped you?
No, back after I tore my meniscus, I told you I got into. You wouldn't know it to look at me now, but I mean I'm low 160, but I've been as high as 195. And wow. But I got it over a period of time there. I really got into weights and getting some guns on me, so to speak. And I did then both creatine,
little mirror flexing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Creatine and protein powder. And now, no, I don't. I really don't. I'm not. I know there's people. Let's see, what's the new one?
I take creatine and protein powder pretty religiously.
Well, yeah. Nothing wrong with that.
There's people who take like collagen.
Right.
I think there's like other things too. Obviously, I'm sure there is, but that's typically what I see, at least in the people I follow.
Now, if you're a young guy, which you are, and you want to buff up, hey, keep healthy. Creatine, protein powder, that's good stuff. It probably wouldn't hurt me to take any protein powder. It may help, but I just haven't done it.
Sure.
What advice would you give, us, we're capable of running the River Run, but somebody who is maybe like us that wants to run these marathons or half marathons more regularly, what, other than like the conversational running, is there any other sort of advice you would give us to make it a little easier, or just get out there and go?
Hand in hand, don't get hurt, and the conversational running. I mean, for that distance, I mean, you don't want to, you want to build that up to a lot of volume, and you can't do that if you're running hard. There's a time and place for that. As I mentioned, when you get near the race, start throwing in a little bit of that. But know what your limits are. Don't go out and get yourself injured, because then, if you're on the shelf for 6 weeks, 2 months, obviously that's not helping. But start out realistically where you are, and just,
even if that's a mile.
Even if that's a mile, I mean that can go up pretty quick. I do that a little bit. Next thing you know, you're running 2 to 3 miles. Do that every other day. Next thing you know, you're running 5 miles 5 days a week. Next thing you know, you're building up to where you're doing one of them that's a 10 miler and the other 3 or 5. Stay with, it's an old cliche, listen to your body. I mean, that's not any groundbreaking advice, but, it's utmost important, coming from a guy that's injured now and then, to stay uninjured.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But that volume, man, that is the king. It really is.
And by staying uninjured, you're just meaning don't overdo it.
Yeah, and if you start feeling something, your body's telling you something. I better take it easy a couple 3 days. Don't do anything drastically different. Don't go from doing your conversational pace to, I think I'm going to go do 10 hard uphill sprints today. Start out with 1 or 2 if you want to do that. A lot of people are into that for running economy and strength. There's not a lot of hills in Newton, but I try to find a couple of them, and just during my runs, I'll run up a couple hills. Nothing regimented or anything like that. Just as part of it to kind of give you a little change in tempo and so forth.
All right, we got to quit running once a year.
Yeah, we do.
Like we got to. If we're going to start running the river run, we got to be running more than the river run.
You guys really. I know a guy that I worked, I'm retired as I mentioned, but he's still working there, that does pretty well on like 20, 25 miles a week. And I don't know, have you ever heard of Strava?
Yeah. Yep.
I have Strava, and I see him on Strava. He basically, what he does is he goes out every night after work and runs 2 to 3 miles. And he does it pretty much every night. He doesn't do a lot of the long stuff. He's younger. He's in his 40s. I'll tell you something funny. I heard from some of my coworkers that he was stressing. I'd never raced him before, because again, I just started racing the last couple of years. That he was stressing about the possibility of having me beat him. Another guy that worked in his little area came over and he goes, "Oh man," he's like, "Man, I don't want to get embarrassed, but getting beat by that old man, And I like, oh my God, that's funny, because he's like in his 40s. And he runs 20, 25 miles a week. And at the Easter Sun Run 10K, they have it at Sedgwick County Park. It's a pretty nice race every April. And I didn't see him, and I didn't really think about him too much. And I was feeling pretty good, knew I was running a pretty good race. And about a mile ago, man, he pulls right up on my shoulder.
Oh, damn.
And kicked me coming in. And he was like, "Oh, man." He goes, I was like, "Man, I didn't know you were back there." He goes, "I was trying to stay far enough away so you didn't hear me." But all I seen, I said, "Man, it wouldn't have done any difference if I would. It made any difference if I would have heard you, because I was hanging on for dear life." But I actually ran faster there than I did the river run. I ran like 46:04. But and I was happy with that. It's been the first race in 6 months, but. Yeah, you guys obviously have some ability just doing it on no training, So I would say
no brains.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like we're playing with fire a little bit.
We definitely are.
The start of the year, January, knowing the river run's coming up in May, if you build up to, you started that first week, go out and do like a 3-mile run like 3 times that week, and build up over the period of that to where you had like 8 weeks of 20, 25 miles, you would probably, it wouldn't shock me if you cut like 5 to 8 minutes off your time.
I believe you.
Seriously. Because that aerobic capacity is everything in the world. Again, you guys are tough running that on no training. You're like...
Yeah, I don't know. It's just a fun thing to do, kind of.
Oh, no. Keep it up. I mean, it's great, Yeah. And I'm not saying quit running if you're not going to run 20, 25 miles a week. I'm just saying, do yourself a favor, and you'd be like, "Wow, man, I ran 8 minutes faster than last year." And that's basically come from going after work, put on your stuff and go out and run for 45 minutes, 3-4 times a week.
Or wake up at 6 instead of 7.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something like that.
Yep. Yeah, I know. That's something we definitely need to do. Are there other fitness events you've done throughout your career outside of marathon running?
I've played a lot of sports. I mean, I played a lot of golf over the years.
What are you shooting?
It depending on the day, anywhere for 18 holes, anywhere from like 80 to 105, probably, depending on the day.
I'm more of a 93 to 105.
Yeah. I haven't been playing much lately. The crowds, I live up there in Newton, and I was a member for a couple of years up there at Sand Creek Station.
Oh, nice course.
Beautiful
Great
course.
golf course.
But we were actually kind of put off by it's so crowded. I mean, it gets to the point to where you got there after work. We were play 9 holes, and you're out there 2.5 hours. Play 9 holes.
You ever go up to Heston?
I used to when I was in my 40s. Some former track teammates and I used to play up there all the time. That's a lot easier course, shorter night. But we haven't been going out because she's got her walking going, and I'm training hard, so we haven't been doing much of that. I played a lot of tennis recreationally with friends. I mean, nothing real organized, just kind of on a recreational basis.
Gotcha. I've actually played at McDonald last weekend.
That's a tough course. I always thought it was.
It is a tough course.
It's a tough course,
No doubt about
and
it.
I played terrible. I'm bad already, but we played 9, and I ended up not. I don't even think I ended up with a very accurate score, but I probably shot over 60 on 9. I played so bad. You thought I'd never picked up a golf club before.
That's not a lot of fun when that's going on.
Especially at McDonald.
Yeah, that makes for a long day.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, if you don't hit it straight at McDonald, you're in big, big trouble.
Absolutely. That can be said of a lot of golf courses. Heston, not so much.
You ever played Tex Consoliver out west?
Yeah.
Don't have to hit it straight.
Yeah.
That's why I love that course.
That back in the day when I was playing that course, it was actually called Pawnee Prairie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. We were doing junior golf, and I think it was still called Pawnee Prairie back then.
That's a long course.
It is a long course.
That is long, but yeah, we used to play out there.
That's like why I like it though. It's because you can have a wayward drive and be okay. Where McDonald's it's very hard, and I've heard it's in better shape recently, but a lot of times it's in terrible shape, and it's already a hard golf course when it's nice, and then it's brutally hard when you're out there playing on a cow pasture.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. But no, I probably played on most of those at one time or another. Like lately, like I said, I have not been playing much at all, but over this period of where I had my meniscus and started running hard again recently, played a lot of golf in that 15-year period, ton of golf.
It's fun.
Yeah. So to answer your question, golf, that's basically about it, really, as far as organized sports.
We should be walking more than we are golf-wise instead of riding a car.
It's funny you said that you carried your bag. I kind of started doing that. I just went to Auburn Hills within the month and just took the afternoon off of work and just walked 18. Didn't have a puller or push cart, just carried my bag. I was beat after that.
Yeah.
18 holes carrying your bag is a workout.
That is a good workout. I used to do that when I was playing in my 40s a lot. Lately, when we were playing, we were on because part of the membership there, you get a cart.
Yeah, right.
But when I was younger, still older than you guys are, probably from about age 30 to 40, I used to walk a lot. I can remember walking 36 holes in a day.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that's one heck of a workout.
Yeah.
Especially if it's hot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that'll do it. Especially, like you said, in the Kansas heat. Man.
Well, yeah. Youth back then,
Hey, it'd kick my ass right now. 18 kicks my ass walking with a bag on my back.
Yeah.
Little than 36.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeesh.
You can definitely feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I had another question for you. I wanted to get your opinion.
Okay.
For somebody like myself or Troy, somebody in their 20s or early 30s, who are chronically aware that they're getting older, what advice would you give them?
Oh man, to be 30 again. No. Actually, you'll get to where knowledge and experience you gain in areas kind of offset the fact that you're, getting a little older physically. I look back on it, and I'm like, man, I wish I knew back then what I know now. I wouldn't stress it. Stay in shape, man. Keep going. Keep doing your 5 days weight training. Your Stairmaster. running the river run, do all that, stay active, just keep it going, just keep showing up, and you won't notice. I don't think about being 70 now, which is mind-boggling. I'm not like, oh my God. I'm like, hey, I'm looking forward to, like, man, I wonder what I could do at 80.
Awesome.
Yeah, totally.
That's awesome. And yeah, you're totally right. Just not falling off just don't fall off the horse.
Yeah, just keep showing up, man. Consistency. You brought that up. You don't have to kill yourself out there doing gut busting workouts. Just show up and do something sustainable you can enjoy.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Just a daily process of just continuing to stay after it. Because
At 27, 30, you guys are still big time young. Young. You really are. You got a lot of good years ahead of you.
It just seems like, though, as the older you get, it rises in importance to keep that consistency. Because, as the older you get, when you fall off a cliff, it probably hurts that much more. Falling off the cliff at 20 means nothing. You can use a couple of years, get right back on it. But falling off the cliff at 55, now you might just be off the cliff.
Yeah. I mean, that I'm evidence of that. I shut it down, not entirely, like I said, but at an older age, getting an injury, it's hard to get back into.
Right.
It really is. But again, just keep showing up. You guys are doing great. I can't say it enough. I'm totally impressed. You guys go out there and run the river.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't feel like it's impressive. I mean, it's like, it's 6 miles, which isn't not impressive, but what he did is impressive. Running a half marathon on a whim is truly impressive. I feel like anybody in decent shape can run 6.5 miles, 6.4 miles, whatever it is. But what you did, I don't know if I can do that on a whim.
It was tough. Obviously, it was super tough. Finding the finish line or finding God was really the mentality that got me there. Seriously. That was what I was going through my head. Man, you're 10 miles in. Just go until the lights shut off or you finish.
Yeah. I can't even imagine doing that on no training, actually. I mean, I'm sure I could.
It's not like I'm still staying fit and active. So, I mean, it's not endurance training, really, per se.
Still.
Some of it, but yeah, I'm not going out and strictly running for that, which probably ended up burning me. About halfway through, I was like, this is not going as easy as I thought it would. But
Yeah.
I didn't think it'd be that easy, but it was real mental battle out there. No doubt about it.
This year, make sure you train some for it. I mean, you got till October.
Yeah.
That 20-25 mile a week thing I was talking about, that worked for that too. Just, go do a longer one on the weekend.
Yeah.
But you're probably not gonna. You're probably one and done on that. Was that a bucket list thing?
Maybe. I've thought about trying one time for the full, but man, that's gonna take completely shifting my training program. Basically, what is it? June now?
Yeah.
I got to start now.
You got
I'm behind probably.
You got 17, 18 weeks probably. It usually falls on the same day as Chicago. That fall.
If I wanted to do that, the full in October, would I be behind already?
The 26 miles?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Would I be behind already if I started training tomorrow?
There's no time to waste, put it that way. I mean, I'm training for it and I'm already, tomorrow, as of tomorrow, we'll have run 1,000 miles this year. I'm at 996 right now. I saw that on my Strava. And so I got 1,000 mile head start on you, man.
You do.
Right after the podcast. I think.
Yeah, I need to get the shoes on right after this. I don't know. We'll see. I'd have to start ASAP, but I don't know. We've got a cousin who did it.
The full?
Yeah, the full.
Who?
Sam Nance.
Oh, yeah.
He ran it well. Big muscular guy too, and he ran at a pretty fast pace. I don't have his numbers in front of me, but he runs well. He runs significantly better than both of us. And I know he trained a long time for it. So
yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. Something I would like to do once, just to say I've done it, but I don't think I'm anywhere close to the shape I need to be in.
I recently saw this. There's a podcast that this guy's cranking them out a lot. I noticed you guys are too, but Running Effect podcast, and he had a young guy. He may be even a little younger than you guys. In fact, he's probably early 20s, and he had one up there I haven't listened to yet. But it's something about he ran a marathon on no training. But he's always interviewing all these like Olympic, medalists and stuff like that. But so I saw that, I'm like, wow. Wouldn't advise it.
Yeah.
You know who David Goggins is?
Yeah.
What's your take on him? Because he's notorious for continuing running through just brutal injuries. I mean,
No, I wouldn't.
It works for him, at least for now. I bet he's in his 40s, and who knows what he's going to age like. But he's doing these ridiculous runs with torn meniscus. I don't know if it's exactly that, but just brutal injuries.
Man, I wouldn't recommend that really.
No, I don't know who would really.
I mean, what you got to be in it for the enjoyment, somewhat.
Not just be a psycho.
And that does not sound enjoyable.
Right.
To just torture yourself. I mean, running through injuries is not a good idea. There's some little niggles you can, like I mentioned. Most people always have a little something hurting on them,
Mm-hmm.
and there are certain things you can run through and keep an eye on or take a day or two off. But as far as something you're really like altering your stride, something like that, or when you get out of bed in the morning, you're like, oh man, I wouldn't recommend that. I'd give it, let nature do its thing and heal up a bit. Try it again.
Right. Yeah.
I've got his book up there, and when he was working to get into the SEAL teams, he lost 106 pounds in 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's probably almost dangerous.
Probably. In 90 days, he somehow managed to lose 106 pounds.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
People, I don't know a ton about him. People do. I hear people talk about him and kind of like, wow, that guy's doing some things that are out there.
Yeah.
He is. He's had a traumatic upbringing, so
Really?
I think a lot of that leads to that.
Really?
Where he's at mentally, where he can just go someplace that the rest of us just aren't going.
Right.
So I think that is something to attribute to it. And yeah, he somehow lost 106 pounds to get into the SEAL teams, or to get into just the buds, the training. He had to lose that weight to just get in, and he did. And he's a SEAL, and he's David Goggins. So
Yeah. He's a pretty famous podcaster now, isn't he?
I think he goes on podcasts.
Oh.
I don't know if he has a podcast.
Okay.
He's like he's some kind of fireman still.
Mm-hmm.
Not like a regular fireman, like a fireman that jumps out of planes into like California wildfires. So I think he does still pretty intense labor. But he does make the tours around all the big podcasts. I think
Right.
annually he'll go on like Rogan and all those guys.
Rich Roll. You ever heard of Rich Roll?
I haven't.
Man, he's the type of guy that would have Goggins on there. He has a lot of people like that. And again, I don't listen to his a ton either. More the Steve Magnus guy, how to train better type thing. Not story of going out and torturing myself.
Yeah. No doubt.
There's a kid I wanted to bring up to you. There's a kid named Truett Haynes. You ever heard of Truett Haynes?
No.
He runs marathons at a fast pace, and he wears jeans.
I think I saw a picture.
He runs
of
in
him.
jeans.
I think I saw a picture of him.
What do you think about that? He's a big, muscular guy.
I saw a picture. I think it may have been on YouTube or something. I know I saw that. Yeah, might as well run in a banana suit,
Yeah, I think he's doing it to raise money for something.
Oh,
but
well, there you go.
but
that's cool.
Yeah, it's
You know?
it's super impressive. I've seen like news shows wherever they're running the marathons. They're obviously covering the race, and it's like, here comes a guy running in jeans at so and so pace. It's like, wow.
He also has the world pull-up record, or
Yeah, for
you know exactly what
yeah,
it is, but
he has the most pull-ups in 24 hours, 10,001.
My God.
Yeah, Guinness,
he's a specimen.
Guinness record. 10,000 pull-ups in a day. That's just a remarkable feat because there's only 2 anchor points, and they're your hands, like nothing else. Like think of the damage that's happening to your body doing 10,000 pull-ups in a day.
I would think running a marathon in jeans, you would get the chafe from hell.
Oh my God.
for sure.
Oh.
Yeah, there he is. Yeah, he clocks 2:42 in denim.
Wow.
What's that sub-element? Chafing isn't a problem for Truett Haynes, who has a blue jean dream of running 2.5-hour marathon.
Holy cow.
Look how much muscle he's carrying too.
His name is Haynes?
Truett.
Truett. And Haynes.
Truett Haynes. is
Truett
his
Haynes
name.
wearing Haynes jeans, right?
Yeah, probably. Probably.
Yeah, that's impressive.
That's a good time.
Because he's also got weight on his body.
Yeah. Yeah, he's like Nick Bear. Have you ever
Yeah.
seen- Jesus,
They're buddies.
He's huge. He's running every bit that fast. Nick Bear, around that. But yeah, I see him. You know, like when you know how it is on YouTube, when you're following a certain subject on your homepage, there are 20 million things along that vein will show up. So I saw him on there and listened to a few of his. So yeah, man, that would be hard carrying all that buff around.
Yeah, I think
Right.
I may be wrong on this, but I think Nick Bear and Truett Haynes, there's a race somewhere. I don't know where it's at here in the U.S. where it's nonstop. You have to run 4 miles every hour, and then it's a last man standing type race.
That is called, what is that called? Backyard Ultra.
Is that right?
That's what that's called.
I don't know who won and how long they went.
They just had one down in
Yeah, I think there was one pretty recently.
Mulvane.
Oh, really?
The guy I was mentioning that was worried about me beating him, that runs 20, 25 miles a week, he ran that. And someone at work who had texted me that after I retired, that this guy, he's walking around really gingerly at work. And I was like, yeah, I bet he is. Because he covered I think he ended up covering like 60 miles. Because I was counting up in Strava, run 4 miles and take like a 10, 15 minute break. They start at the top of the hour, I think,
Yeah, I think so.
and run 4 miles.
Yeah.
And then, but say you get done and you've got 15 minutes, you can chill out and hydrate and
Yep.
then do another. I was surprised that he did that many.
Yeah, Backyard Ultra is a unique ultra marathon format where participants run a fixed distance of a little over 4 miles every hour until only one runner remains, making it the winner. Man,
Yeah, that'd be tough. That would really be tough.
that doesn't entice you?
No, I would never do that. I would 26.2 is going to do it for me, and I like that race, but I like 10. I even really like the 5K a lot. I haven't run one recently in quite a long time, but I need to run 5K. I like that race a lot too. I'm interested in going faster, 26 down. I'm not going to go any further than that.
What's your 5K time? Like if you
Out
were
of
to run it the
college
way
or
you-
right now?
Right now.
Right now, I could run 21 something.
Which is
It's about 7-minute pace. Because I went through the first mile of the river run like 7-minute
my
pace.
goodness.
When I was in my 40s, I used to race a lot of 5Ks, and I was running the 17s for 5K.
Whoa.
And I could get a pace chart, but 5K pace chart would tell you what kind of pace it is. I don't know what type of pace it is.
Were you in the high fives at that?
Yeah, I think so. And then when I was a college runner, I was actually running in the 14s. We were running 3 miles. I was running like 14 flat, which would equate out to about 14:30.
Oh, here we go.
What is 17:30? I was running that in my 40s.
It's down at the bottom.
5:38.
17:30. Yeah, 5:38.
Right. Yeah. That's why early on when we first started talking, and it's just like mind-boggling how much you slow down. The thing about it is, it's crazy. If you don't look at the watch, it doesn't feel any slower. Like out there at these races, the half marathon, I don't feel any different than I did when I was running like 29 minutes. 450 pace, running 720 pace.
That's interesting.
Don't feel any different.
Yeah.
If I didn't look at the watch, I wouldn't even know. That's kind of enjoyable, really.
And you're still running at a incredibly fast pace.
Yeah, it's funny because in that last stretch where you turn from Walnut back onto Douglas to hit it home there, like, what is it?
Passing the Monarch. And
Yeah, a little less than a half mile probably. My wife was there and she took a little video of me coming by. And I saw it, I'm like, oh my God, I look slow. And my daughter texts me, congratulations, Dad. And I'm like, yeah. I said, you got to time me with a calendar these days.
Not even close.
But it's still fun, and I enjoy it. But again, it's crazy how much you slow down over the years. It really do.
You still outrun your kids? Your kids runners?
No. I have two daughters, and they're parents and homemakers. And,
Gotcha.
They
Gotcha.
do the exercise videos and that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
I think they can. Yeah, I know both of them were recreationally, like going out and running a couple miles 2-3 times a week. But as far as competition now, that bug's never bit them.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, sir.
Hang on, I got one more important question.
Okay.
Come this fall, how do you think our beloved Kansas City Chiefs are going to fare?
Ooh, yeah.
I think they're going to do great. I tell you, since I'm retired, I've been watching this show, First Things First. You're at work, probably.
Nick Wright.
Yeah, with Nick
Yeah,
Wright.
yeah, he's great. He's a Chiefs homer.
Oh, die hard.
Yeah, he is.
He really is, and I love watching it. As he's always and I saw in there that NFL.com had come out today. They were talking about how said the Chiefs are going to have like the 10th best offense, and looking at their numbers last year, the other guys on the show, Chris Broussard and Kevin Wiles, were like, well, that's not that much of an insult, when you're looking at their numbers here from last year. But, man, they're the Chiefs. They got Andy Reid, Mahomes. I remember 10 years ago, maybe a little longer, saying to my wife, because she and I watched the Chiefs game, we wouldn't miss it for the world. But I'm like, man, we are probably in our lifetime never going to see them win a Super Bowl. Look at now,
Right.
It's like Merry Christmas, right?
Totally.
But I've been watching sports long enough I do not take that for granted. They might not go to another Super Bowl in his career. They probably will.
But you don't know.
You don't know. You don't know. I mean, like Dan Marino went to the Super Bowl his rookie year. Never went to another one.
That's crazy, isn't it?
And we were just thinking, he'll get one next year or the year after. Never went to another one. You never know what could happen, really. But knowing them, I'm thinking they're going to win the AFC West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Today, on that same thing, they had the Broncos offense rated as 6th this year going into it. I'm like, why?
Sean Payton, maybe. But, yeah, it's all trash. All the preseason offense.
Yeah.
Who's going to be this, that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You don't know.
I'll just make up a list.
Yeah.
What does it mean? Nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. The sports journalists are all like, such a knee-jerk reaction to everything.
They do.
And they want views. You put up the NFL is just a moneymaker for these shows. And you put up a list of the top 10 offenses or whatever. That's going to get people intrigued because America just loves the NFL.
Right. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, man, I can hardly wait for it to start.
Yeah, I know.
I hear you.
And if the Chiefs if the Chiefs do have a 9th or 10th best offense, they're going to be really good again. Because their defense is they're all coming back, basically. They're all going to be, defense is going to be really good again, you would think.
Yeah. I think the fact that we've got Rashee Rice back, it's going to be huge,
Yeah, I wonder if the hammer comes down on Rashee Rice.
I know. I'm dreading that. He's, my opinion, he's probably going to be looking at, a 6-8 game suspension.
Could be.
That's okay. If he gets 6, it's like, all right, just get this done, get it over with, and then let's hit our stride.
If Worthy's improves a little.
I think he will.
Yeah, he really came up big at the end. His size worries me a little bit, Yeah. He's a little small. Brown, he's hurt a lot.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, if he could stay healthy, I remember seeing him play with the Ravens. He had some good moments.
They drafted a kid in like the 3rd round. Fifth round.
Yeah, it may not have been 5th. It may be 3rd, somewhere in there.
I don't remember where he came.
Utah State, I think.
I think you're right.
And they're raving about him.
Are they?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
They need another one because Kelsey's obviously not what he was. He's a good weapon in situational plays, but the next generation, Brady went from all those guys at the beginning to the Gronks and the Edelmans in his late. Mahomes going to have to do that. He had Tyreek and Kelsey, and now he's going to have a whole new group of guys that become household names for his second half of his career.
Brady did that several times.
Yeah,
and it always amazed me.
He's remarkable.
Go from Randy Moss, Troy Brown.
Right.
All those different guys coming through there, and he and Belichick the only constant, or Josh. I guess he was there off and on.
But it's really Brady Belichick.
Right. After what happened when he left for Tampa Bay, you're thinking it's probably more Brady.
Yeah.
Because Belichick kind of fell off the cliff through that last couple of years. A lot of it was bad drafting, though.
Yeah, but if you don't have the quarterback, you're just not going to be good.
No.
But I think there's beginning of those, it was just a perfect marriage. It was a perfect marriage between those two because Brady needed that structure. Now, by the end of it, when Brady had become his full self, he might not have needed that structure. But Brady would have never been Brady without Belichick to start.
Right.
Ever.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We'll see. I'm optimistic.
Oh, I am too. They're definitely going to have a winning season.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind about that.
Andy Reid doesn't not have winning seasons.
Yeah, AFC West, it might be tight.
There's no reason not to believe that they're not going to win the AFC West.
No, they got the best coach and the best QB. Although, who was that? Chris Sims says that Mahomes is the 4th best QB now. I saw that on
behind Geno.
First Things First.
Doesn't Geno Smith play for the Isn't he the QB for the Raiders now?
Well, not in the division. Overall, in the NFL, they had Lamar first, Josh Allen second, and here's a shocker: they had Baker third.
What?
Yeah, they had Mahomes 4th.
That's just people wanting to get clicks.
And I like Baker. Baker's had a great revitalization of his career.
Yeah.
But Jesus, what are we doing?
Holmes is a 3-time champ.
I think the reason they were really pounding on this little thing, and Chris Sims put it out, was they had Jalen Hurts 10th. And they had C.J. Stroud 7th.
Was it like a QB ranking, or was it like a
Sims ranking, the quarterback ranking of going into 2025? And my wife's like, did that guy play football? I said, yeah, it's Phil Sims' son. Said he was in the NFL for a cup of coffee,
He was. Yes, he was.
But yeah, so that's just all something for journalists to play with.
It's just fun.
No, they're gonna be good. I can hardly wait.
Me too.
Yeah, me too. Me too. It'll be here before you know it.
Yeah, training camp next month.
Wow. Yeah, you're right.
That means you're going to be having the Chicago once football season starts.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember watching a couple of years ago in the hotel, all beat to hell after the marathon, watching the Chiefs beat the Vikings. I was sitting up in the Hilton on Michigan Avenue, feeling good, watching the Chiefs win.
This last year?
2 years ago. 2 years ago.
We won up in Minnesota.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
I remember that game.
Right. and yeah, they won up there, and yeah, it'll be great. Absolutely.
Awesome. Troy, you got anything?
I don't.
Jim, you got anything for us?
Man, I appreciate you guys. I've really enjoyed talking to you guys.
Likewise,
been
sir.
fun.
This has been.
Fun.
Likewise.
I'll be looking for you at the road races when I'm out there.
Just turn around.
Yeah. Just turn around.
I'll probably watch you come by because you've been running that 25 miles a week. You know?
Yeah, the only way you're seeing us if you got eyes in the back of your head.
Yeah, that's right.
No, but I appreciate it. It's been fun.
Oh, seriously, sir. I said it at the beginning, but it's great to have people like you. It's physical evidence of setting the standard. So it's really important that there's people like you out there.
That's flattering.
And just keep going.
I will. I can promise you that.
Keep going because we're going to be chasing you.
Yeah.
Yes, we will.
We
I'd
may-
love to pass you someday.
We may not be close to you, but we'll be chasing you. Awesome,
I
sir.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much.
All right.
Thanks, Jim.
See you.
Thank you.